Recent breakthroughs around the Great Sphinx of Giza have resurrected its mysteries. Ground-penetrating radar and advanced 3D imaging are revealing hidden chambers, voids and structures that hint at a far more complex narrative than we ever imagined. For context from leading researchers, check out Message of the Sphinx by Graham Hancock and Robert Bauval, link below. Historically dated to around 2500 BC during Khafre's reign, this guardian statue, with its lion's body and human head, has always served as the face of Egypt's grandeur. But modern technology is prompting us to re-examine everything: its construction, alignment, and even its connection to a broader temple complex that may redefine the era's architectural sophistication. Now picture this: we're not just seeing a statue, we're looking at an interface between the living and the divine, engineered to usher in spiritual and ceremonial power. We're finding it might be part of a much larger energetic grid, one that spans ancient Egypt and perhaps beyond. Traditionally, Egyptologists position the Sphinx in the 4th dynasty, carved under Khafre's orders. Khafre, son of Khufu, cemented his legacy with pyramids and the Sphinx, a symbol of divine kingship blending pharaoh and lion, intellect and strength. A nearby temple reinforces this tie, linking the statue, rituals, and pyramid complex together. But then came Robert Schoch, a geologist with a radical proposition. The Sphinx's erosion patterns point to centuries of rainwater, not sandstorms. He suggests a date closer to 10,000 BC, during the wetter Younger Dryas period. If true, who built it? And with what tools and technique? Imagine a lost civilization capable of carving monumental statues aligned astronomically long before dynastic pharaohs. That would upend 30 centuries of accepted chronology. Let's unpack that. If built around 10,000 BC, not 2,500 BC, it shifts human history. Perhaps advanced societies existed before Egypt's rise, with knowledge in astronomy, engineering, even megastructure construction. Maybe our story isn't a linear ascent from Stone Age to Bronze Age, but a tale of repeating cycles of rise and fall. Such a shift would open questions. Were other monuments, pyramids, megaliths, sacred sites built earlier than we thought? Is there a hidden global blueprint showing how ancient cultures encoded knowledge into stone? This is far more than archaeology. It's a philosophical quake. Enter ground-penetrating radar, GPR, seismic tomographies, muon radiography, and wind tunnel geology. Teams, like those at NYU, are scrutinizing yardangs, wind-eroded stone forms that shape the plateau. Wind erosion is real, but it can't fully explain the Sphinx's deep vertical weathered sides. Meanwhile, NYU's seismic tomography, pioneered by Dr. Sarah Stevens, has revealed hidden voids, perhaps chambers hiding artifacts, inscriptions, or even scrolls. These technologies allow us to peer beneath millennia without disturbing the sacred ground, making the Sphinx a living lab, an interface between science, narrative, and myth. So far, we've reframed the Sphinx not just as an Old Kingdom monument, but possibly a remnant of a lost age. Check out the comments below for the Egypt Code by Robert Bauval, link provided, offering deeper insight into star-aligned structures and hidden grids. What if the Sphinx isn't just old, but cosmic? Its gaze is fixed directly east, aligned with the rising sun on the spring equinox. That isn't artistic flair, it's precision engineering. Ancient Egyptians believed the journey to the afterlife began with the rising sun, and the Sphinx, it was placed like a divine instrument, greeting the sun god Ra each morning. But there's more. Many researchers believe the Giza Plateau mirrors the Belt of Orion, 3 pyramids laid out to reflect the celestial arrangement of Orion's 3 brightest stars. If you plot the Great Pyramid, Khafre's Pyramid, and Menkaur's Pyramid on a map, and overlay Orion's belt, the alignment is eerily precise. As Robert Bauval proposes in the Egypt Code, this was no accident. The builders encoded star maps into stone. Now travel back even further, mythologically and maybe historically, to what the ancient Egyptians called Zep Tepi, or the first time. This was the golden era when gods ruled, and knowledge flowed directly from the stars. The Sphinx's lion form may have more to say about this. The constellation Leo would have risen directly behind the Sphinx around 10,500 BC, right when Schoch dates its origin. Coincidence? Or confirmation that Zep-Tepi wasn't legend, but memory? In that context, the Sphinx may not be a guardian of a tomb, but of a timeline, a time capsule set in stone. And the alignments don't stop with the sky. The Great Pyramid encodes the speed of light in meters per second, the ratio of pi, and the golden mean. The Sphinx, in scale and positioning, seems to follow the same code. These aren't numbers ancient Egyptians would have stumbled on accidentally. These are intentional symbols, mathematics woven into monuments. As Graham Hancock and Robert Bauval detail in Message of the Sphinx, these structures may function like ancient computers, processing light, time, and consciousness. But what does that mean for us? According to ancient texts, rituals weren't just spiritual, they were technical. The Sphinx's role wasn't ornamental, it was part of a ritual machine. Priests, aligned to celestial events like solstices and equinoxes, may have activated temples through sound, incense, and movement, synchronizing human intention with cosmic frequencies. Ceremonies likely took place at the base of the Sphinx during solar events, designed to synchronize pharaohs with the cosmos. These weren't theatrics. They were attempts to maintain ma'at, universal order. Here's where the story deepens. Dr. Sarah Stevens' seismic work shows an underground void beneath the Sphinx's right paw. It matches descriptions from esoteric lore, particularly those from Edgar Cayce, who claimed a hidden hall of records lay beneath the Sphinx. Inscriptions, star maps, even knowledge from lost civilizations like Atlantis may be buried there. And guess what? That void is real. Ground-penetrating radar confirms it. Egyptologists are cautious, but the data is public. Could the Sphinx be sitting atop a cosmic archive? So, here's what we know. The Sphinx isn't just art, it's architecture aligned with the stars, calibrated with mathematics, and connected to hidden underground structures. If you want to dive deeper into these possibilities, explore Underworld by Graham Hancock, link below. It's an eye-opening look at sunken monuments, rising sea levels, and what may have come before Egypt. What if the Sphinx wasn't just a monument, but a declaration of cosmic authority? Carved in the likeness of Pharaoh Khafre, this lion-man hybrid isn't ordinary propaganda, it's divine engineering. Khafre wasn't merely a political figure. He was earthbound celestial energy. The Sphinx was his avatar, as above, so below. Consider this. Khafre's pyramid stands directly behind the Sphinx, connected by temples aligned like neural circuits. This wasn't coincidence. It was sacred design. The idea, a ceremonial machine designed to transfer the pharaoh's consciousness into the afterlife. Not metaphorically, but literally. Millions of tons of stone formed a resonance chamber calibrated to starlight and sacred geometry. Temples lining the causeway were ritual spaces, amplifying human intention with smoke, chant, sound, and movement. Think of it like tuning forks. Sound vibrations coupled with geometry, when activated at precise times, could recalibrate bloodline frequency. Khafre's face carved into the Sphinx isn't just portraiture, it's identity encoded in stone. Its scale, proportions, and placements aren't billboard messages. They're cosmic signatures, angles aligned to Orion's belt, nodal points on Earth's magnetic field, and tonal resonances mapped to musical intervals. Records suggest rituals inside the Valley Temple positioned the deceased pharaoh as living resonance. These weren't songs, they were formulas. If you're exploring how ancient culture merged cosmic science with monarchy, the Egypt Code by Robert Bauval offers compelling parallels, and the links already waiting in the description below. When Khafre died, Sphinx ceremonies didn't end. They amplified. Priests maintained the energy circuits, calibrating spiritual grids across Giza. These nodes acted as DNA activators for Egypt itself, tuning the collective consciousness. Imagine, a pharaoh's lifetime ritual isn't just politics, it's planetary infrastructure. If a king's death could send ripples through Earth's energetic architecture, what does that say about the balance of power in ancient Egypt? Khafre's funerary temple connected directly to the Sphinx. Carved causeways, sanctuaries, chapels, and statues of the pharaoh lined processional paths. Every footstep, flame, incense, and word was part of a ceremony tuning the environment. Recent 3D scans reveal subfloor chambers beneath Khafre's causeway, some filled with quartz and high-vibration crystals. Were they caps, resonators, frequency amplifiers? We don't know yet, but their existence can't be ignored. Pharaohs weren't just kings, they were cosmic trustees, but they needed mediators, those who could tap into ritual frequency. Priests weren't second tier. They were initiates trained in harmonic resonance. Their words, gestures, and chants, when standing behind the king, shaped more than ceremony. They shaped cosmic alignment. Today, we call it quantum biology. We know crystal lattices vibrate. That sound affects neurochemistry. That electromagnetic fields influence cell growth. The ancients didn't have labs, but they had stones, stars, and priests steeped in experiential geometry. It wasn't primitive. It was irreducible. Khafre's pyramid still mirrors Orion's belt, but so does his spiritual infrastructure. He left behind ritual temples, cosmic alignments, and priesthoods that outlived him centuries. But why? To preserve resonance, to seed civilization, to encode cosmic frequencies into Earth. Could it be that every time we walk the Giza Plateau, we're entering a harmonic chamber tuned millennia ago? Khafre's Sphinx is more than homage. It's a frequency anchor, a cosmic node, and for those trained in sacred geometry, it's both lab and lecture. In the next section, we'll dig into Schoch's dating theory and how a wetter Egypt rewrites Giza's origin story. What if Egypt's most iconic monument wasn't built in the desert, but in the rain? That's the theory put forth by geologist Robert Schoch, and if he's right, the Sphinx doesn't just belong to the Old Kingdom, it belongs to an age no history book dares to cover. Schoch noticed something most Egyptologists missed: the deep, rounded fissures along the Sphinx's enclosure. These aren't wind marks, they're water scars, etched by centuries of torrential rain. But the Giza Plateau hasn't seen that kind of climate in over 9,000 years. That puts the Sphinx somewhere around 10,500 BC, not 2,500. Let that sink in. If true, this shifts everything. It means the Sphinx predates the pyramids. It means a civilization with advanced stone-cutting skills existed 6,000 years before the pharaohs even dreamed of dynasties. And it means that a story we've told for centuries is off by a geological epoch. This time frame, 10,500 BC, lines up with a strange period known as the Younger Dryas, a sudden return to Ice Age conditions that ended in cataclysm. It's the same era referenced in countless myths: floods, sky gods, disappearing cities. Atlantis? Maybe. But one thing's certain: something happened, something big, and the Sphinx may be our oldest surviving witness. To dive deeper into this possibility, Underworld by Graham Hancock explores the mysteries of civilizations lost beneath rising seas. You'll find that link waiting in the description. It's not a storybook, it's a data trail. If the Sphinx is older than we thought, then the builders weren't Egyptians. So who were they? We don't have names, we don't have records, but we do have the stone. And the stone doesn't lie. The precision of the cuts, the size of the blocks, the erosion patterns, none of it matches what we know from the Fourth Dynasty. It points to something else, a civilization erased by time, by flood, or by design. Why are we so quick to bury the possibility of a world older and maybe wiser than our own? Ground-penetrating radar has revealed rectangular voids beneath the Sphinx, especially near the front paws. Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities has long denied access to these anomalies, citing preservation concerns. But the scans remain. The math holds. And more than one researcher has suggested What if the Sphinx wasn't just a statue, but an entrance? An entrance to what? A library, a temple, a vault, or maybe a warning. If ancient memory is encoded in stone, and that stone is misdated, misread, and ignored, then humanity's timeline is fractured. Our rise is not linear. Our knowledge didn't evolve from nothing. It was inherited. And like any heir, we've forgotten where the treasure came from. The orientation of the Sphinx to face the rising sun on the spring equinox is not random. It's cosmological. And when combined with Orion's alignment above the pyramids, a pattern emerges. In 10,500 BC, Orion's belt aligned perfectly with the layout of the Giza pyramids. This wasn't just art, it was a star map. And the Sphinx, it wasn't just watching the sunrise, it was marking a celestial rebirth. These builders didn't just understand stone, they understood earth, sky, water, frequency. They encoded myth into math, spirit into form. And then they vanished. Was it flood, fire, a fall from within? We may never know. But what they left behind, the Sphinx, the alignments, the erosion, tells a story written not in ink, but in geology. The Sphinx may be more than we ever imagined. Not just a symbol of pharaonic power, but a relic from a lost civilization that warned us in silence. One that knew the sky, read the earth, and maybe foresaw our amnesia. In the next section, we enter the chamber beneath the Sphinx, where things move from theory to physical evidence. And yes, it involves real scans, seismic readings, and a story so unbelievable, it might just be true. For centuries, it was dismissed as myth, a chamber beneath the Great Sphinx, a vault of lost knowledge, a so-called hall of records. Esoteric nonsense, they said. But then, the ground spoke. In 1993, researchers Thomas DeBecky and John Anthony West used seismic tomography to scan the bedrock around the Sphinx. What they found was startling. A large rectangular cavity beneath the front paws, perfectly symmetrical. Not natural, not random. Engineered. This wasn't a crack or a cave, this was architecture. But just as fast as the data surfaced, it was buried. The Egyptian Antiquities Organization denied further access. The narrative closed, but the chamber remained. Why would a scientific scan revealing a chamber beneath the world's most famous statue be ignored? The idea of a hall of records didn't start with conspiracy forums. It began with ancient texts, specifically the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, and later echoed by clairvoyant Edgar Cayce, who claimed that beneath the Sphinx was stored the memory of a forgotten civilization. Atlantean origin stories, star knowledge, the blueprint of humanity's lost chapter. Wild, maybe, but the scans say something's down there. To explore these controversial claims and their astronomical ties, the Egypt Code by Robert Bauval is essential reading. The Sphinx's alignment, the pyramid's star maps. It's all there. Link in the description. Some researchers believe this chamber wasn't just a storage room. It was a resonance vault, built to preserve frequency, not just data. Quartz-lined walls, geometries that amplify intention. A room that responds not to touch, but to consciousness. Think of it like a cosmic USB drive. You don't open it with a key. You open it with who you are, and only if you're ready. The Emerald Tablets describe this place in vivid terms, a vault beneath the lion that guards time, sealed until the world is ready to receive forgotten wisdom. And here's the twist. Those ready aren't governments. They're individuals, initiates, seekers, rememberers. Why hide something so powerful? Because memory is power, and power, when unearned, corrupts. The Hall of Records wasn't locked to prevent discovery. It was sealed to prevent misuse. And that's why every new discovery around the Sphinx, every seismic void, every carved artifact, every misaligned erosion mark matters, because we're assembling a puzzle whose picture was never meant to be visible until now. Even modern scientists are treading closer to this line. New studies using muon tomography, a technique that uses cosmic particles to scan for voids, are being deployed around Giza. Just like they were used to find a hidden chamber in the Great Pyramid of Khufu, they could reveal what lies beneath the Sphinx. And if these techniques confirm the 1993 scans, it changes history. Again, why is this information rising now, after being dormant for decades? Maybe we're finally ready. Maybe the floodgates of knowledge, once sealed by fear, control, or secrecy, are beginning to open. Not because of rebellion, but because of resonance. The frequency is shifting, and the Sphinx, it was always a transmitter. The idea of a hall of records isn't just about hidden books or golden scrolls. It's about us. It's about remembering who we were, so we can decide who we're becoming. The chamber is real, the scans confirm it, and the silence around it, that might be the loudest signal of all. It's easy to look at the Sphinx and see a monument, a sculpture, a relic. But what if we've misunderstood its function? What if the Sphinx isn't just a statue? What if it's a lock? According to esoteric texts and seismic scans, the chamber beneath the Sphinx wasn't meant to store treasure. It was designed to preserve resonance, the spiritual and genetic blueprint of an ancient civilization, one not born of Earth, but aligned with it. The knowledge stored there wasn't written on papyrus. It was encoded in frequency, geometry, and memory. And some believe the Sphinx is guarding a seed, a dormant signal waiting to reawaken. If you're ready to explore the implications of that knowledge, Graham Hancock and Robert Bauval's Message of the Sphinx is an absolute must. It dives deep into the alignments, myths, and theories that point to a forgotten chapter in human history. The link is in the description. Look closely. The Sphinx faces due east, gazing directly at the rising sun on the spring equinox. This is not accident. This is alignment. Some researchers argue this orientation is part of a galactic map, that the Sphinx, the pyramids, and the chambers beneath them form a terrestrial blueprint, a harmonic grid that once connected humanity with the stars, with Orion, with Sirius, with something beyond. And according to ancient lore, something, or someone, will return when the stars realign. What if the true key to opening the Hall of Records isn't beneath the Sphinx? What if it's within us? Esoteric teachings claim the chamber won't open with force. It will open when enough humans carry the resonance required to match its frequency. In other words, when we remember who we are. Because what's buried beneath the Sphinx may not just be knowledge, it might be us. A previous version, a higher octave, the next iteration waiting to be activated. MON, imaging, ground-penetrating radar, seismic tomography. All these tools are pulling back the curtain. And as new scans reveal more voids and anomalies beneath the plateau, the question isn't if something is there. The question is why now? In the Emerald Tablets, Thoth writes, "When the stars return to their rightful positions, the temple shall speak again. That time, maybe now, because the Sphinx is not just a monument to the past, it's a mirror of what's coming." To go deeper into the broader origins of this mystery, Underworld, The Mysterious Origins of Civilization by Graham Hancock is the ultimate exploration of rising seas, lost knowledge, and the civilizations we've forgotten. Link in the description. So if you've made it this far, you're not just a viewer, you're a seeker. And the journey doesn't end here, because in our next video, we go beyond Egypt, into the stars. We'll uncover the interstellar conflict that shaped not only the ancient world, but Earth's entire blueprint. Get ready for Arcturians versus Lyrans, galactic war for Earth's blueprint. It's not science fiction, it's cosmic memory. Subscribe, share, and activate notifications so you don't miss what comes next. Because if the Sphinx was a test, the next chapter is the awakening. And this time, you're not just watching it unfold, you're in it.